I was honored to be invited to speak to the International Labor Communications Association. I'm truly sorry that I'm unable to join you for your convention. I have great respect for the journalists who work in the labor media and help keep the nation's working people informed. After what happened in the 2016 election in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and elsewhere, I think it's supremely important for labor communicators, indeed for all journalists, to work to keep America's working men and women as well informed as possible about what's happening in our nation's politics, our nation's economy, and our nation's workplaces. I've long admired the work that many journalists in the labor press do. I know it's not always easy work. I know there are constraints. I recognize that you often don't get the glory and appreciation you deserve. Over the years, I've found many articles in the labor press smart and insightful. Over the years, I've found that I've learned a ton from the labor media. I congratulate Lucia Wang for winning a Labor Media Award for her story about the undue pressures placed on advice nurses working for Kaiser Permanente. Lucia's article is just one example of the excellent work that the labor press often does. It turns out that many of the themes of my new book are the same as the themes of the ILCA's new narrative. In my book, Beaten Down, Worked Up, The Past, Present, and Future of American Labor, I take pains to describe what unions have accomplished and how they have helped lift tens of millions of American workers and built a fairer, more democratic nation. A major reason I wrote my book is that I feel that far too many Americans, especially young Americans, know far too little about labor unions and what they have accomplished. Many young Americans seem to think the 40-hour work week was handed down by God. No, I explain, the 40-hour work week was won through decades of struggle by workers and their unions. That was also how we won safer factories, mines, and construction sites, and how we won paid vacations and health coverage and retirement plans at work. I devote a chapter to the famous uprising of the 20,000 of 1909, in which thousands of immigrant female garment workers in New York City went on strike for 2 months in the dead of winter. They were demanding not a 40-hour work week, but a 52-hour work week down from the 56-hour week. They were also demanding an end to paying for the needle and thread they used in their sweatshops. In my book, I have chapter after chapter about the huge importance of collective action, of workers standing together, whether in the Flint sit-down strike, a breakthrough in unionizing colossal General Motors, or in the Memphis sanitation workers strike, or the Red for Ed teacher strikes in West Virginia, Oklahoma, Arizona, Los Angeles, or Chicago, or the amazing gains won by the Culinary Workers Union in Las Vegas, helping lift thousands and thousands of hotel housekeepers and dishwashers into the middle class and to achieve the American dream for those workers. Eager to make my book readable and hopefully compelling, I repeatedly use the words and faces of individual workers to tell their own stories and in that way to tell labor's larger story. For instance, about how Clara Lemlich, an immigrant from Ukraine, led the uprising of the 20,000, or how Leah Lipska, a corrections department worker in Madison, Wisconsin, fought back after her family's life was thrown into disarray by Scott Walker's assault on public sector unions and on the livelihoods of government employees in Wisconsin. Again, I'm very sorry that I was unable to join you at your convention yesterday, Thursday. I had to fly back from a book event in Las Vegas. As for today, Friday, many months ago I agreed to participate in a panel discussion that City University's Center on Labor and Urban Studies was holding this morning in New York. I'm sorry I'm not with you today to celebrate your important work in communicating about workers. I look forward to years of continued smart, probing, intelligent work from all of the labor media at a time when we have the most dishonest president in American history, at a time when there are major media organizations like Fox News that deliberately distort and misinform instead of informing and illuminating. There has been no more important time for the labor media. There can be no more important role for the labor media than to communicate the truth about workers and unions and what's happening in the economy as loudly and widely and clearly and accurately as possible. Best of luck on all your deadlines and all your stories. And all of you, please keep up all your good work and good works.